This is the statistics calculator set D worksheet. So by now you should have done set A, B, and C, and you should be pretty okay at these. So if you're looking at the worksheet, this is what you should be seeing. Let's actually get the pen up so we can actually work through this. And let's look at the first question. First question wants us to work out the estimated mean weight of a pebble, right? You should have read it so far, but notice in this one here, they didn't tell you how many pebbles you're dealing with. So you need to get your calculator out, or well, I would use a calculator because you want to be accurate, make sure you know exactly what they add up to. And in this case, they add up to 80. You're going to do your two extra columns, midpoint and midpoint times frequency, right? Make sure you always head them up. And the midpoints are 55, 65, 75, 85, and 95. We're going to times the midpoints by the frequency. So put a little time sign there, work it out, and be very careful as you're doing this with your calculator. As I said before, do it twice. Right? Do it twice to make sure you've got the exact proper value. Then add them up, take your time as you're doing that, and they add up to 6,420. And we're going to do 6,420 divided by 80. Show that bit, and here's my answer, 80.25 grams. Okay, going on to question 2. Just as before, draw your key. That is always important. You've already picked up a mark. The biggest value is in the 40s, the smallest value is in the 10s. So my stem is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to tick them off as I actually work through. So by the end, I've ticked them all off, right? I've got them all there. Okay, so now they've said they have 14 students. In part 3, they said work out the median. So just as we did before, 14, add 1, whatever that number is. So if it was 15, I would do 15 add 1, right? But in this case, there are 14 values. 14 add 1 divided by 2. 14 and 1 is 15 divided by 2 is 7.5. So I need to work out what's between the 7th and 8th value. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So my 7th value is 29. My 8th value is 30. What's halfway between each of those? I don't even need to add them and divide by 2 to work it out. I can actually see that it's going to be 29.5. Okay, make sure you're comfortable with this, and you could do questions similar to this type. Question 4, draw the box plot. Just as we did before, the lowest value is 30. Read the scale very carefully, use a pencil and ruler. The median is 60. The upper quartile is 100. The lower quartile is 40. I need to now figure out what the biggest value is going to be. But I know the lowest value and I know the range. Remember, the range is the biggest, take away the smallest. If I add these two, I'd figure out what the biggest value is going to be, and that's 110. And I'll put a marker there. Draw your whiskers going out and draw your box around there, and there you have it. Going on to question 5. Question 5, pretty straightforward, as with all the others of this type. Your lowest value is your 0%, your highest value is your 100%. Your middle value, your median, is your 50% marker, and the quartiles is like 25%. And then this is the upper quartile, which is 3/4 of the way along, which is 75%. So from this question, they said, a box plot shows the marks in a test. What percentage of students got less than 60 marks? Less than 60 marks is 50%. You should be pretty okay at this. Question 6 and 7 are the definitions of random sample and stratified random sample. You need to know these, commit these to memory. I'm not going to spend a large amount of time on it. By now you should know it, but you need to keep on going through this over and over again and make sure you have it totally in your head. Question 8. The table shows the number of students in each year group at a school, and as soon as I've started reading this next bit, a stratified sample of 50 students according to year group is taken. I know exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to write down the acronym now, new over old times what you want. So let's start figuring out what each of these values are. The new value is 50 because they said the sample of 50 students. The old value is how much they were altogether, the total population. They haven't told it to me, but I need to add up these values, and I'm getting 500 when I do that. What I want is the number of year 8 students, and year 8 students, there are 50 of them. So I'm going to do new 50 over old 500 times what I want, the number of year 8 students, which is 50. When I work that out, I've got bang on 50, bang on 5 Don't need to do any rounding or adjustment. So my answer is going to be 5 students. Okay, be very careful with this. Make sure you know how to do it and make sure you can get full marks when you're doing this type of question. Question 9. This is a histogram question, but first of all, we need to work out the frequency density. So, frequency density is frequency divided by class width. The class widths, we need to work those out, and that's just how big each of those class widths are. So 0 to 10 is just 10, 10 to 15, that's 5, 15 to 20, that's another 5, 20 to 30, that's 10 in size, and 30 to 50, that's going to be 20 in size. You need to make sure you understand and know how to do each of those. Okay, moving on, let's work out the frequency densities. Remember, frequency density is frequency divided by class width. So the frequency, 8 divided by 10 is 0.8, 15 divided by 5 is 3, 11 divided by 5 is 2.2, 10 divided by 10 is 1, and 6 divided by 20 is 0.3. Now you can use your calculator to work out all of these, and please make sure you do. You're not going to get extra marks for doing it in your head. The examiners would not know the difference. Question 10. We're going to label up the axes. Frequency density always is the vertical axis. The thing we're dealing with is length of time. So I'm going to put time on my horizontal axis, and let's label them up. So my horizontal axis is going to go from 0 all the way up to 50, and if I go up in 5s, I can actually use a lot of that space to take me up to 50. Moving up the vertical axis, the biggest value is 3. So actually, I'm actually going to just go up every one of those big, or every 10 tiny squares, it's just going to be 1, and that'll take me up to 3. The first bar is going to go from 0 to 10, and that's going to go up to 0.8, which is 8 tiny squares up. Then the second bar is going to go from 10 to 15, and that's going to go all the way up to 3. The next bar is going to go from 15 to 20, again 5 wide, and that's going to go all the way up to 2.2. The next bar is going to go from 20 to 30, and that's going to go all the way up to 1. And then the final bar, 30 to 50, okay, so all the way to the end, and that's going to go up to 0.3. Make sure you do that carefully. Remember, as I said before, use a pencil and a ruler when you're doing these. Take your time. Attention to detail is really important. You've now done all 4 statistics calculator sheets. Make sure you understand it completely, and if you get a question of any of these types, you can do it in the exam and get full marks.